my WWE Hell in a Cell 2011 pay-per-view review. The pay-per-views last night. As far as my thoughts on the show, I actually thought it turned out to be a fairly good show from WWE. Now, was it a great show? No, I would more or less put this in a category of an above-average pay-per-view, and especially with the consideration that going into the show, I really had low expectations for this pay-per-view. I wasn't expecting much from it. Looking at the card, it wasn't really that enticing. And considering they only had 2 weeks to build up to this pay-per-view, they actually, turned out not to be a bad show. Really, the only thing on this pay-per-view that was great or anything that I would say that people need to definitely see was the main event, which was Del Rio, Punk, and Cena in a Hell in a Cell match for the WWE title in a triple threat match. That was really the only match on this show that I would say was a great match. I really enjoyed that match. Now, the only gripe I had with that match is another gripe I had with the other Hell in a Cell match, which I think a lot of people had a problem with both Hell in a Cell matches, is they did not utilize the steel cage. It's like, why are they in a Hell in a Cell if they're not going to really utilize it? I mean, in the triple threat match, they had a table spot where Punk got thrown through a table. They did use a steel chair, and they maybe did like one spot with the cage, but really they did not. They acted like the cage did not really even exist. Really, in the main event, the only time it really came into existence was when John Cena got locked out of the cage. That was really the only problem I had with that Hell in a Cell, is that they did not utilize the steel cage just like the other match. And the undercard for this pay-per-view actually wasn't that bad. Saw some pretty solid matches on the undercard. One or two matches might have been, watchable at best, but really nothing terrible on the show. And then actually the one thing that was really surprising, which was, I know some people didn't like it as much as I did, but I did enjoy it. Probably because I'm a huge Beth Phoenix fan, and I'm glad she finally won the Divas title. But actually for the match, I actually thought it was a pretty good women's match for WWE standards, which in essence is probably not saying too much, but I actually thought Beth Phoenix and Kelly had a pretty good women's match on this pay-per-view. So I really enjoyed the main event. The Divas match was pretty good in my opinion, and the undercard wasn't really that bad. So I thought this pay-per-view was pretty much a above average pay-per-view, and it turned out a whole lot better than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a whole lot worse than what it was. Now the one thing I will say is, this is a pay-per-view just had 2 weeks after another one, which is shown right there. WWE needs to lower their number of the pay-per-views. That's the one thing WWE needs to do really bad, is not have two pay-per-views in 1 month, and I think they need to lower the number of the pay-per-views. They definitely need to get rid of one of the pay-per-views in October, and maybe one or two other pay-per-views within the year. They definitely need to do that at some point, because obviously, WWE's hardcore fan base, WWE will probably get, even no matter what pay-per-view it is, will probably always get at least 90,000, 100,000 buys, but really, how many fans are really going to go out their way to order these pay-per-views if you keep on doing so many of them? Especially, a lot of them are thrown together at the last minute for the most part. Now, let me get into my review. The first matchup was Christian and Sheamus. This actually was a fairly good match with these two, a pretty decent opener. The crowd for the show was pretty weak. That was one of the problems there. The crowd got into certain parts of the show, but really weren't into the whole entire show. A pretty weak crowd. This match with Christian and Sheamus, I thought was pretty decent opener. Probably a match you would expect to see them two against each other on SmackDown, so it felt kind of like a TV match, but pretty decent match with the two. Sheamus wins the match after hitting the big boot to Christian, and I would say about a 2.5, maybe 2 3/4 star match. Then the next matchup was the Sin Cara versus Sin Cara match, which they were calling Sin Cara 1 versus Sin Cara 2, which Sin Cara 1 was the original Sin Cara 2 was the other one, which I guess on SmackDown they had the fake Sin Cara change his attire. Instead of being in the blue, he was in the black. So it's pretty cool to see, this Sin Cara versus Sin Cara thing in WWE. They did this in Mexico with Sin Cara, so it's kind of good to see. Actually wasn't that bad. The original Sin Cara, he's still getting used to WWE style, so he is quite botchy at times. The other ones probably not that much better, but considering, sometimes these two have been really sloppy in the ring, they actually did not do bad against each other in this match. It was actually cool to see. Saw some good back and forth action, a lot of good arm drags in this match. Really, pretty much enjoyed this match. Sin Cara wins, which is the original Sin Cara. He wins with the roll up in this roll through in this match, and by like 2 and 3/4 star match. It actually wasn't a bad match. Then the next matchup was Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler versus Air Boom, Kofi Kingston, and Evan Bourne for the WWE Tag Team titles. Now, I really like Air Boom. Now, this is one of those examples where you can actually put together two mid-card talents that, they're not really using that good as far as singles wrestlers, and they put them together as a tag team, and they actually work really well. Now, it doesn't always work, throwing people together, but it really worked well with Kofi Kingston and Evan Bourne, and it feels like WWE is trying their best to somewhat try to revitalize the tag team division, and this was actually pretty good. You saw, Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston. They did some good stuff in here. Dolph Ziggler as well, and Jack Swagger. So fairly good tag match here. Was pretty much into it, and the end of the match comes when I guess Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler, they were going for like some kind of like Doomsday Device maneuver. Jack Swagger had Evan Bourne up in a power bomb, and then Evan Bourne reversed it and into a Hurricane Rana roll through and pinned Jack Swagger to retain the tag team titles. I would say about a 2 and 3/4 star match. So far you're seeing, the matches so far weren't really that bad. Then you had the next match, which I guess for Mark Henry match wasn't too bad. This was Randy Orton versus Mark Henry for the World Heavyweight title in a Hell in a Cell match. Just the one thing I said earlier, the one problem I had with this in the main event was they really did not utilize the Hell in the Cell like they should have. They did probably like a few things, but they did not play off it as much as they should have, considering that was the main part of the match, Hell in the Cell. More or less, they kind of made it seem like it was just a regular match where, maybe not a regular match, but kind of no DQ, because they did do some things that they wouldn't have been able to do in a regular match, but for the most part, they did not do too many special things in the match. I mean, Mark Henry, I guess, with a bear, he slammed Orton into the cage with a bear hug, which was pretty good. Then Orton, he hit the RKO in this match, went for the pin, only got a 2 count. Then towards the end of the match, Orton was going for the punt kick to Mark Henry. Mark Henry moved out of the way, caught him with the World's Greatest Slam, so Mark Henry retains the title, which I think everyone knew that was going to happen with Mark Henry retain the championship here. And for a Mark Henry match, I guess, wasn't too bad. It was about 2.5 stars. Obviously, Mark Henry's probably going to have this title for some time. I feel WWE will at least give him this title probably at least till the end of this year, maybe up until the Royal Rumble. And I've even heard some rumors that they might keep it even longer than that. Hopefully they don't do that and just have him lose as quick as possible. I would love to see him lose at the next pay-per-view, but I highly doubt it will happen. So that match for a Mark Henry match wasn't too bad. Then the next matchup was Cody Rhodes versus John Morrison. This match just got added at the last minute. The best thing about this was before the match, which was Cody Rhodes was out there. He was on the mic, and he unveiled, and I guess he's bringing back the classic Intercontinental Championship from the early 90s, and that's what he's going to be having now. So that was great to see that. That was definitely a mark-out moment right there. Cody Rhodes was still in his street gear. He's wearing a suit, and John Morrison was wrestling him, and I guess all things considered with that, it wasn't a terrible match, but with the Cody Rhodes and John Morrison, I would expect a little more than what they actually did in this match. Just a match I guess they put on at the last minute to kill some time, and I guess they wanted to do the one thing with Cody Rhodes unveiling the classic IC title on a pay-per-view. That was probably really the main reason why they did this right here. Obviously, Cody Rhodes retained the title in this match with a roll-up. It's about a 2.5-star match. Then the next matchup was Beth Phoenix versus Kelly for the Divas title. Actually, I really enjoyed this women's match. I know some people probably didn't enjoy it as much as I did, but I thought it was actually pretty good. Saw some good back and forth action in this match. Really got into it, and thankfully, Beth Phoenix did win the Divas Championship right here. They kind of played it off that they were going to end the match in the same way they ended the last two matches with the sunset flip roll through that Kelly has been winning the last two pay-per-view matches with Beth Phoenix. Thankfully, they didn't do that. The end of this match comes when you saw Natalya outside the ring. The referee was distracted. Natalya hit Kelly with the microphone. And then after that, Beth Phoenix hits the Glam Slam to win the Divas title. And I actually thought it was a really good women's match. Definitely for WWE standards, a good women's match. I know some people probably didn't enjoy it as much as I did, but I guess I'm a huge fan of Beth Phoenix, so that probably did help it a lot right there. And I actually thought, even I'm not a fan of Kelly, she actually looked pretty decent in this match. Good back and forth action. I really enjoyed that women's match. I wasn't expecting that good of a match there. I was hoping that Beth Phoenix was going to win. That was one thing that did happen. So thankfully they finally did that. And actually, like I said, pretty good women's match in my opinion. I would probably give it about 2.5 stars, maybe even 2 3/4 stars, because it was a really good women's match, I thought. Then the main event, which was John Cena versus Alberto Del Rio versus CM Punk in a Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Championship. And a triple threat. This was really good match. And now the one thing I'll say, just like I said when I was talking about the Mark Henry match, they didn't really utilize the steel cage with the Hell in the Cell in this match, which was one of the biggest problems I had. But as far as the match, it was really enjoyable. All three of these meshed very well with each other. Saw some great work with CM Punk and John Cena, Alberto Del Rio with both of them, and Cena doing good stuff as well. They did some They did one spot in this match that CM Punk got thrown through a table. You saw a number of chair shots in this match, and then towards the end of this match, you saw Ricardo Rodriguez. He, I guess, knocked the referee out. The referee on the outside was knocked out. Got the key, unlocked the Hell in the Cell. Was trying to go in there. He had bolt cutters in his hands, and he was trying to go after and hit John Cena with it. Cena pretty much chased him outside the cage, hit the attitude adjustment onto Ricardo Rodriguez outside the cage. And then during this whole part right here is when John Cena got locked out of the cage. Alberto Del Rio locked him out. So good heelish thing to do right there. Lock Cena out. And, then there was a steel pipe in this match, which Alberto Del Rio used. He hit CM Punk with it. CM Punk kicked out there. Then the end of the match, you saw CM Punk. He was going for the go to sleep. Alberto Del Rio still had the lead pipe, hit him twice with it, and regained the WWE Championship, which was like, why did they have him lose the title 2 weeks ago if they knew he was going to win it? Regain the title 2 weeks later. It was a very, very pointless title change right there with him losing the title. And really, him losing the title 2 weeks ago really kind of hurt his push right there that he was having for the title. So hopefully WWE realizes now. Now, I'm not the hugest Alberto Del Rio fan, but hopefully WWE realizes now not to completely hotshot this title so much and try to do something with Alberto Del Rio, because he is a new face in WWE as far as being world champion. This is his second time being champion. He should still be in his first title run. He shouldn't have lost it 2 weeks ago, but that's what WWE did right there, and I guess they just wanted to do that for some reason or whatnot. But really good match with all three of them, and I would give it probably about 3 3/4 stars. Really enjoyed it. Then after this, the Hell in the Cell rose up. Cena finally, got in the ring. He attacked Alberto Del Rio. Then you saw out of nowhere, you saw Miz and R-Truth. They were wearing jeans and hoodies. They came into the ring. They attacked everyone. Then the Hell in the Cell lowered. They were beating down, CM Punk, Alberto Del Rio, and John Cena. Then all the locker room came out there. Triple H was out there. They were trying to, get into the steel cage. Then someone came out there with bolt cutters, opened it up. Then the police came in there. They arrested the Miz and R-Truth. So obviously they're still going on with this thing, which with them being fired from WWE and them getting arrested. So they'll probably keep doing this thing until probably Survivor Series with R-Truth and the Miz, which I think is a pretty good thing, and they're playing it off very well, and they're really doing a good job making it seem like it's actually real. Then after they're handcuffed, they get outside the cage. Triple H tries to go after them. He attacks them. And then the show pretty much ends with Triple H getting held back by, I guess, the referees and the security and the police. And then the pay-per-view ends with, not Alberto Del Rio, but the Miz and R-Truth being arrested and being taken out. So really good heated exchange after the Hell in a Cell match. They're really doing a good job with the Miz and R-Truth thing right here, which is really probably helping them catapult both of them towards the main event. Even though they have been in the main event, they're really doing a pretty good job right there. Now, I know some people probably will say, well, the thing with, Triple H attacking them and, beating them down and stuff kind of, made it looked like Triple H was burying him, but I didn't think it looked like that in the least. So it's pretty good ending for the pay-per-view. I know some people probably had mixed feelings of the ending of the pay-per-view, but Alberto Del Rio's the WWE champion right now, which he should, after he won the title 2 weeks ago at Night of Champions, he should have kept not lost the title. He should have not lost the title at Night of Champions. He should have still be WWE. He should have still been WWE champions, because that really did hurt it right there with him losing the title. But maybe WWE just wanted. I don't know why WWE wanted to do that, considering they knew 2 weeks later he would regain the championship. So it was fairly pointless. They've been hot shotting this title for so many times right now during the summer. Hopefully now WWE tries to do something where they actually have someone like, I guess Alberto Del Rio hold on to the title for some time to actually bring some credibility back into it. Because if you keep changing this title month after month and someone else just keeps on having it, it really diminishes the prestige of the title, which, WWE has been doing this for a long time. So some people would say, well, they've kind of been doing it for so long that it's kind of lost prestige a little while ago, but they do need to do something where they don't completely hotshot this title so much. So even though I'm not the hugest Alberto Del Rio fan, I'm kind of hoping WWE at least, keeps this title this time on Alberto Del Rio. At least have him have a 2-3 month title reign and not have him lose it, at the next pay-per-view or at Survivor Series. At least have him have it till the end of this year, or maybe even till the Royal Rumble in January. So yeah, that's it for my WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view review. I'll give this pay-per-view about a 7 out of 10. It actually turned out to be a better show than what I thought it would have been. The main event was really good. I thought the women's match was good, and the undercard was fairly enjoyable. You saw some good stuff on there. And really, the one thing that was good about this pay-per-view is you really did not see one match I would say that was even terrible. The Cody Rhodes and John Morrison match could have been a little better, but it wasn't a terrible match. I've seen better matches from them too, but wasn't terrible. And then the Mark Henry match with Randy Orton and Hell in a Cell wasn't too bad. And the rest of the matches were fairly good matches that I enjoyed. So not a bad pay-per-view from WWE. I wouldn't say go out your way to see the pay-per-view, but I wouldn't say go out your way to order this pay-per-view, but if you do want to check something out, I would definitely recommend checking the main event out. And the women's match I thought was pretty good. And some of the undercard, the Sin Cara versus Sin Cara thing was kind of cool to see, and you saw a pretty decent tag team title match on here. So yeah, that's it for my WWE Hell in a Cell 2011 pay-per-view review. All right, peace.